Good morning, you guys, and welcome back to day 21 of 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. So, I asked you last week on our last lesson, um, your homework was to write about a time that you experienced extreme peer pressure, and I wanted you to write somewhere between 1 to 3 paragraphs about this incident, how you handled it, if you would handle it differently now, so on and so forth. So now we're moving on to winning means rising each time you fall. So we all feel fear from time to time, and that's okay. Feel the fear, but do it anyway, goes the saying. One way I've learned to overcome fear is to keep this thought always in the back of my mind. Winning is nothing more than rising each time you fall. We should worry less about failing and more about the chances we miss when we don't even try. After all, many of the people we most admired failed many times. For instance, Babe Ruth struck out 1,330 times. Albert Einstein didn't talk until he was 4. Beethoven's music teacher said, as a composer, he is hopeless. Louise Pasteur was graded mediocre in chemistry. Rocket scientist Wernher von Braun failed ninth grade algebra. Chemist Madame Marie Curie experienced near financial ruin before creating the field of nuclear chemistry and forever changing the course of science. Steve Jobs was fired by Apple after he founded it and later returned to run the company and invent the iPhone. Dr. Seuss's first book was rejected by 27 publishers. Below are events and the life history of a man who failed many times but kept fighting back. See if you can guess who it is. This man failed in business at age 22, was defeated for the state legislature at age 23, failed in business at age 25, coped with the death of his sweetheart at age 26, suffered a nervous breakdown at age 27, was defeated for Speaker at age 29, was defeated for congressional nomination at age 34, was elected to Congress at age 37, lost renomination for Congress at age 39, was defeated for the Senate at age 46, was defeated for the Vice Presidency of the United States at age 47, and was defeated for the Senate at age 49. This person was none other than Abraham Lincoln, elected President of the United States at age 51. He rose each time he fell and eventually reached his destination, gaining the respect and admiration of all nations and peoples. Ooh, excuse me. This is one of my favorite quotes by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Oh, always, if your gut tells you to do it, oh, you got to go with it. And if it tells you don't do it, that's bad news. Man, you better stop dead in your tracks because your gut knows what's up. Okay, be strong in the hard moments. The poet Robert Frost wrote, "Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference." I have come to believe that there are certain hard moments, diverging road moments, that, if we are strong in them, will make all the difference down the road of life. So, what exactly are hard moments? Hard moments are conflicts between doing the right thing and doing the easier thing. They are the key tests, the defining moments of life, and how we handle them can literally shape ours forever. They come in two sizes, small and large. Small hard moments occur daily and include things like getting up when your alarm rings early, controlling your temper, or disciplining yourself to finish your homework. If you can conquer yourself and be strong in these moments, your days will run so much more smoothly. Also, you won't have to stress about them anymore. For example, if I'm weak in a hard moment and sleep in, mattress over mind, it often snowballs and becomes the first of many little failures throughout the day. But if I get up when planned, mind over mattress, it often becomes the first of many little successes. In contrast to small hard moments, larger ones occur every so often in life and include things like surrounding yourself with good friends, resisting negative peer pressure, and rebounding after a major setback. You may get cut from a team or dumped by your first love. Your parents may get divorced, or you may have a death in the family. These moments have huge consequences and often strike when you're least expecting them. If you recognize that these moments will come, and they will, then you can prepare for them and meet them head on like a warrior and come out victorious. Be courageous at these key junctures. Don't sacrifice your future happiness for one night of pleasure, a weekend of excitement, or a thrilling moment of revenge. If you're ever thinking about doing something really stupid, remember these lines from Shakespeare. Wow, Shakespeare twice in one chapter. What I win, wait, what win I if I gain the thing I seek? A dream, a breath, a froth of fleeting joy. Who buys a minute's mirth to wail a week, or sells eternity to get a toy? For one sweet grape, who will the vine destroy? So these lines are about sacrificing your future for a brief moment of joy. Who would want to give up the rest of his or her life for a toy? Who would want to buy a minute of happiness, mirth, for a week's worth of pain? Who would destroy an entire vine for just one grape? Only a stupid person would. Overcoming peer pressure. Some of the hardest moments come when facing peer pressure. Saying no when all the friends are saying yes takes raw courage. However, standing up to peer pressure, what I call won't power, is a massive deposit into your PBA. A counselor at a high school shared this. A freshman girl rushed into my office before school with tears streaming down her face. They hate me! They all hate me! She had just been dumped by her group of friends who told her to get lost because she had been too good the day before to ditch school and ride up to Chicago for the day. She said at first she wanted to go, but then thought how much it would hurt her mom when school called home and told her that her daughter wasn't in school. She felt she just couldn't do that to her mom because she had made so many sacrifices for her. She couldn't let her down. She stood up and said, "No, I can't do it." And everyone just blew her off. She thought the next day that everything would be okay, but it wasn't. They all told her to find new friends because she was too good for them. Through the tears and pain, she began to see that she felt good inside, but lonely. As her friends didn't accept her, but she accepted herself and gained self respect and inner peace despite outside rejection. A life lesson learned and a moment of standing up for herself. Sometimes peer pressure can be so strong that the only way to resist is to remove yourself entirely from the environment you're in. This is especially the case if you're involved with a gang, a fraternity or sorority, or a tight group of friends. For Heather, changing her environment was the best solution. Even though I knew for a long time that I needed to change my friends, I just didn't know how. My best friend would encourage me to do the things she was, like sleeping around and doing drugs. Before long, people at school started to call me easy. I still wanted to be friends with her and my other friends because I would think about all the good times we had together. Yet when I went out with them at night, we would get into stuff we weren't supposed to. I knew I was holding on to the things I shouldn't be. I decided I needed to change my whole environment and get away from it all. I asked my mom if I could go and stay with my aunt to get a new start and find a better group of friends. She agreed, and since then I've moved in with my aunt. Now, around my friends, my new friends, I say whatever I feel is right. I'm being more myself. I don't care what people say about me. And if they don't like me, then oh well. This is me, and I'm not going to change just to fit in with them. I'm going to change for me. Yes, that's so wonderful. To overcome peer pressure, you've got to care more about what you think of you than what other people think of you. As this short poem by Portia Nelson reminds us, any day of the week, I would choose to be out with others and in touch with myself than to be in with others and out of touch with myself. Why is peer pressure so hard to resist? It's because something you're just it's because sometimes you're just dying to belong. That's why teens are often willing to go through brutal hazing rituals to become a member of a club or fraternity or sorority. I'm sorry, y'all. Some get into drugs and violence to become a member of a gang. Some feel they have to suck up to certain people to be popular, then drop their old friends on the way up the social ladder. At times, you may need to take risks, resist the peer pressure, and do the right thing. John of Brooklyn told this story. Some of my friends in sophomore year started a page on Facebook about hating one girl named in our class. It was really awful. They'd make memes out of her photos and write terrible messages about her. There was really no reason to do this. She was just kind of an outsider, and people were taking it so way out of control, it wasn't even funny. Some of my friends were pressuring me to participate, but I just refused. Finally, I reported the group for hate speech anonymously, and it got shut down. I knew it was the right thing to do. I also told the principal, without naming names, that some people in the grade were cyberbullying, and we had an assembly about it. I was scared of having to face everyone the next day at school, but no one knew it was me who did it. In fact, I went up and talked to the girl in math class just to get to know her a little and let her know she wasn't alone. Turns out she's really cool, a nice person. We've been friends ever since, and she still doesn't know it was me who stopped the cyberbullying. See, that kind of stuff right there, that allows you to know that you have mad respect for yourself. If you can care about someone that you don't know enough to put your own really, you know, popularity or relationships at risk, then that says a tremendous amount about your character. Um, I had a similar thing, I think, when I was in high school. There was a young lady who all of the kids she came from a really difficult background, and um, you know the kids were really hard on her, and um, I wasn't like super popular in school, but I was really well known, and my dad was the football coach, and I was an athlete, and I hung out with all the right people. Um, so uh, I don't know. I guess people kind of listened to me when I spoke. Anyways, I had a party for I think it was my 15th birthday. And I was still fairly new in Perry too, because that was my ninth grade year, and I had only moved to Perry in the beginning of my seventh grade year. So I had a party for my birthday, and it was at a place called the Junction. I don't know if you guys still use that um, to have birthday parties and such or not, but it's where Miss Amanda Clark does her photography now, I think. Anyway, it was the cool hip place to have a party. It was, there or the dance workshop basically. And it was huge. Uh, I had juniors and seniors at my party, and that was a big deal because I was a ninth grader. And so there was like probably over 100 people there. It was a crazy night. And I had invited this particular girl in our grade personally. I had gone and asked her to come because I saw how people treated her and everyone else was coming. And I didn't think that it would be fair for her to just sit back and listen, on Monday morning to what we did over the weekend. And I don't know, I had this I was always drawn to those people, the ones who were made fun of, people were mean to. I I felt like I had enough presence about myself that by being kind to them, I could influence others. And whether I was right or wrong, I don't know. But I do know that that young lady came to my birthday party, and I know that she had a lot of fun that night. And what was funny and interesting is later in life, I had the opportunity to, um, like once we graduated from high school and everything, she had moved down close to where I lived, which was in Orlando, because I was going to college in Orlando. And she contacted me on something you guys probably don't know anything about now, but it was called MySpace. It was before Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat and all that stuff. And it was like the first big social media thing. And she contacted me on MySpace, and we got together and had lunch one day. And she told me that day at lunch that, um, like basically her story, and she had a really difficult childhood. She'd been molested by, you know, her mother had been married many times, and all every time to the wrong people, and they'd always used her, and it was really a sad story. And she basically told me that me being nice to her and inviting her to do things from time to time, um, really just kind of kept her alive. And I think that that's a huge deal because anyone who's ever had to experience losing someone, um, especially through, self harm, that's a really, really difficult thing to deal with. And I have a story about that too, but I don't know if this is not definitely not the appropriate time or place to share it. Um, but yeah, so just next time you or your friends are being mean to someone, take into account the fact that your words really, really, really do harm people, and that the difference between life and death could quite literally just be a hello, how are you from you. Sometimes that's all it takes. Somebody who's on the brink right there, who's being bullied, who just wants to give up because they're not being accepted. Sometimes just a hey, how are you can change that person's whole outlook on life. It can move mountains, you guys. So, With that being said, I hope you'll take that story into account. And we're going to move on now to the good kind of pressure. Okay. Um, not all peer pressure is bad. In fact, much of it can be very good. If you can find a friend who puts positive pressure on you to be your best, then hang on to him or her because you've got something very special, someone who's got your back. If you find yourself wanting to stand up, but instead you are continually caving into peer pressure, here are two things you can do. First, build that personal bank account. If your self confidence and self respect are low, how can you expect to have the strength to resist? What can you do? You can begin today to build your PBA little by little. We've been working on it this whole time, anyways. Hopefully, it's being built daily. Make a promise to yourself and keep it. Help someone in need. Develop a talent. Renew yourself. Eventually, you'll have sufficient strength to forge your own path instead of following the beaten one. You may want to review the chapter on your personal bank account. Second, write your mission statement and set your goals. If you haven't decided what your values are, how can you expect to stick up for them? It will be a whole lot easier to say no if you know what goals you're saying yes to. For example, it's easier to say no to cutting class when you are saying yes to your goal of getting good grades and making it to college. You may want to review the chapter on habit too. Begin with the end in mind. Okay, so we got to say no to things that are not part of our value system. Here's your homework for tonight because we're going to stop right there. Okay. Your homework for this evening is to review your mission statement, review your values, ask yourself all the questions that I just asked you. If you haven't written your mission statement, then you better. Today is your day. This is your moment. This is where you write your mission statement if you haven't done it yet. I want you to review your personal bank account, add to it. You should be working on it every day. And then lastly, I want you to do one of those little things that it said in there. Make a promise to yourself and keep it today. Help someone in need today. Work on your talent today. Or take some time and renew yourself. Okay? Everybody got it? You're going over your values. You're going over your mission statement. If you haven't written it, you're writing it. And you're going over your personal bank account and you're adding a little something to it. Once you've done those three things, then I want you to choose from one of the four. Make a promise to yourself and keep it. Like, I'm going to work out today. If you say you're going to work out today, your tail better be working out today. That's a promise you made to yourself. Don't forget. Okay, so one of the four: make a promise and keep it, help someone in need, develop your talent, or take some time to yourself and renew. Okay, nice little bubble bath, go for a walk in the woods, climb the trees, look at the beautiful sun cascading down, listen to the birds chirp. Oh my gracious. Take a deep breath and inhale that fresh air and just enjoy your day, folks. Okay? I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson. I will be back here tomorrow with something new. Have a wonderful day. Toodle-doo.